Is Kyle Trask going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers QB1 this season? We're going to talk about that here with Logan Robinson on Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another bonus episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. Happy Friday again. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find my written work with Whole Nine Sports, Giants, Country, NFL 33. And joining me now is going to be Logan Robinson. We are going to talk about Kyle Trask potentially being the Tampa Bay Buccaneers starting quarterback. But first, if you have not yet signed up for Florida Victorious, do so. Go to floridavictorious.com. Sign up using promo code LOCKED, and you will save 20% on your first month with Florida Victorious using promo code LOCKED. Joining me now for Locked On Gators is Logan Robinson, the founder and owner of Noel Gameday. Don't kill him. Bucs Gameday, which is the most important part here, and UFC Knockout. And Logan, we're here because you've been at practices. You've seen Kyle Trask, Baker Mayfield, this quarterback one battle firsthand. What's been your opinion of Kyle Trask so far heading into his third season in the NFL?
Well, we saw him a lot during the OTAs and spent a lot of time watching him kind of build his relationship with Baker Mayfield, because we know those two are highly different in their personalities and the way that they work on the field and socialize with players. And I'll be honest with you, it seemed like Baker Mayfield had a little bit of the edge there during OTAs. And we got to mention too, those are just shirts, you're wearing a jersey, no padding, nothing like that, and you're mainly doing some 7-on-7 stuff, and you're doing 11-on-11 installs, so nothing too crazy highly competitive. You'll do some one-on-one stuff, which both Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield had their days. But going into training camp, though, we've seen a nice switch just off of him and being more hands-on and as being a vocal leader. And I think he kind of had like a little wake-up call going into this camp of, hey, integrate yourself into this new offense with Dave Canales coming from Seattle. You have a reset here, and this is an equal playing field for both him and Mayfield. But, nonetheless, he's not going to change his personality and how things go. He told that to us like a week ago whenever he talked to the media and said, this is just who I am. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to fake anything. But I will say, though, we have seen a switch with him, Brandon, being over on the sideline. There was a scuffle. I think it was last Sunday. It was inside of the IPF there and the Advent Health Training Center, and they were running their regular 11-on-11s at the end of practice. And Rashad White, the Buccaneers starting running back, got hit, a little cheap shot there, and got nailed. And Kyle Trask was running that offense, and he was one of the first people to get inside of the scuffle, break things up, get vocal, and make sure guys are getting back and getting to the huddle. And that's just something that you didn't really see as much of from Trask. And then you see other things too, after plays not being made correctly. He's very one-on-one with his wide receivers or tight ends, even his running backs as well, talking to his offensive line, and just something that at least I haven't seen him. I've been covering the Bucs now for 2 years, hands-on, and just seeing that change, though, talking with other beat members that have been around since him getting to the Buccaneers 3 years ago, they've seen a significant change as well as his demeanor coming in. And you know what? If you're fighting for a starting job, some things do have to change with you, and we're seeing that with Trask right now.
Yeah, I feel like before it was like, well, Brady's here, so don't really have to do anything. But I mean, we know now the change in, we'll say, leadership style, maybe just being more vocal, whatever you want to say it. What's been probably the biggest improvement that you've seen from Kyle? Because I know with Locked On Bucs, one of the concerns has been, I get it, it's practice training camp. He hasn't really taken that next step to show he can be the guy. So what would you say has been his biggest improvement so far? Because I feel like even last year, we knew Tom Brady was going to be the starting quarterback going into it, but it was still like, hey, Kyle Trask not doing awesome right now in camp. Whereas this year, I've seen actual highlights of him, which I can't say I did last year.
Yep. I mean, alongside, which I think is a big factor, him getting to a better leadership role and taking that next step forward. I think that was huge for him. On the play wise, I think for him, getting 2-minute offense down has been something of success for Trask. He stood out pretty well. I think him and Baker, I think Trask has kind of had the better edge there a little bit on getting down the field. Sometime, you'll see Trask get down on one day, and then you'll see Mayfield and find success and getting to his targets and getting down there in a timely manner and getting to a scoring drive. And that's something Kyle Trask has done a very nice job of, and both quarterbacks have done pretty well. But Trask stands out to me in that because we didn't see a whole lot of that in OTAs. During OTAs too, a lot of good amount of interceptions as well from Trask, and that's something that we've seen an improvement on as well of protecting the ball. The last couple of days, at least not yesterday, but the day before, 5 interceptions in total between both quarterbacks. Trask leading it with 3. Just kind of careless mistakes here and there, kind of got lousy a little bit. And, I think, yes, the Bucs do like that he's protecting the ball. That's huge. That's something that Todd Bowles has explained to us after multiple practices, that's going to be a major factor in who deciding they start in week 1 up at Minnesota, Brandon. But for, Trask, he had been leading that charge and taking care of the ball very nicely, but he's not taking the shots that I think Dave Canales would like him to, kind of, going for your shorter routes, smaller gains, and making sure you're not giving away the ball, which is fine. But eventually, no matter what, that can't work all day long in an NFL game. You go back to what you were doing last year almost. I mean, the Buccaneers were struggling big time. Even though you had Tom Brady, the greatest of all time back there, they could not click on offense and really get any kind of explosive plays going. And that can't be the same thing like last year, or this Bucs team will be close to tanking for Caleb Williams. So we'll see. There's definitely been some nice strides from Kyle Trask, and I think more of it will get a huge answer between both these quarterbacks, specifically Kyle Trask, whenever he starts the week 2 preseason game up there against the New York Jets.
For a championship team, it's all about making sure that every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time that you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure to check every part and make sure that it all fits right. Just add your ride to My Garage, look for the green check to know the part will fit, or you get your money back, because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop with eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Gator Nation, let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items apply. Exclusions apply. I feel like it's so hard to be a training camp quarterback, because it's one of those times where, like, if you throw picks, you have half the side going, oh my God, he sucks. And the other side's just like, he's getting them out now. He's just figuring out what he can and can't do. And with Kyle Trask, it's like, take care of the football. Don't turn it over. But also, you need to show you can take some shots. I feel like that's like you're just in an impossible situation as a camp quarterback. But hey, you're in the battle for QB1. You got to show me something at that point.
You got to take chances, man, and definitely when you have wide receivers like a Mike Evans and a Chris Godwin, and you also got some youngsters with some speed too, where you're wide open like a Devin Tompkins who's been flashing in this training camp. You've got to be able to utilize your talent. They're there for a reason. You just can't do these little first level, second level throws to your tight end or off to the flats. If you've got a wide open Mike Evans, or you've got one-on-ones with Mike Evans, you've got to utilize those shots. And that's something that he had struggled with really at the beginning of the camp. And then honestly, yesterday and the day before, he was starting to connect deep, wide open wide receivers, but still, at least for them to connect and scoring with Mike Evans is something that they're going to want to do a lot in 2023 after having a major lack in 2022 for Evans.
Yeah, I feel like if Kyle Trask does win this quarterback competition, then we kind of know how it goes. It's like, all right, see how he does this year. If he has you competitive, then maybe just focus on getting weapons around him. Don't worry about necessarily upgrading the quarterback spot. And if he does start and he's bad, then you're probably in position to draft Caleb Williams, Drake May. I'm not going to say Bo Nix, but someone in the first round, you can maybe get your guy there. But what if he doesn't win the job? Is it just if Baker struggles, then we go to Kyle Trask and we evaluate from there? Or if he loses to Baker, is like, okay, he's not the guy, chalk it up as a second round pick that just didn't pan out and call it a day?
I really think that no matter what, and unless we see a significant gap in preseason games, because we're not seeing anything we were talking about in the production meeting, we haven't seen anyone wanting to take a lead in this quarterback competition, unless there's some kind of crazy significant gap in the preseason that says, okay, yeah, Baker Mayfield is the starter for the entire season, Trask your QB2, and then until some kind of injury is made. I don't think that's the case. If Baker's struggling and has a consistency of that, we'll see Kyle Trask go in there. I don't think Todd Bowles also doesn't have the cushion to really ride with the quarterback if there's consistent bad play there. This is going to be you're on the hot seat, Coach Bowles, and he's got to have to make some executive decisions in order to also keep his job. So if Baker Mayfield, we're seeing him throw multiple interceptions, the Bucs aren't able to get down the field and have drives, and there's a lot of miscommunication going on or some missed throws and not connecting with some of their bigger targets. Changes are going to be made, and they're going to be made earlier in the season. And so, we'll end up seeing what happens tomorrow night whenever the Bucs do have the Steelers coming in town, which is always a good competition defensively in the pass rush. Your front seven from Pittsburgh, no matter what preseason end game, they're always going to bring it. So this is going to be a phenomenal test for that Bucs offensive line, protecting, Kyle Trask whenever he gets and with the second team. And then most certainly when we get into the week 2 of preseason, when they go face the Jets, can he make a jump? Can we see multiple successful drives, taking care of the ball, running this offense? Those are going to be huge tests for him. And like you were asking earlier, is there going to be someone that gets solidified as a starter throughout the season? That's 50-50 for me. I think this Bucs team really wants to see someone take that next step and make sure that they're able to execute this offense like Dave Canales was able to do in Seattle with Geno Smith.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, like you mentioned, that Steelers week 1, Jets week 2.
Yeah,
you'll see how these quarterbacks perform with pressure in their face right now, because it's gonna happen. Just 2 great pass rushes, regardless of, I don't care if you have best O-line in the league or worst O-line in the league. They're getting in the backfield a little bit, so you're going to be facing either way. So looking forward to seeing how that works out at the time that this comes out. Game is tonight at 7:00. And thank you so much, Logan. Very much appreciate you taking the time here to just let us know about this quarterback battle. Of course, I'm not going to pretend I'm not hoping for Kyle Trask to win it, but thank you so much. Follow Logan on X, Twitter, whatever, at Logan's Twitty, and catch his work with Noel Gameday, which again, don't kill him.
I promise I'm not a crazy enemy. We're just here to report things. I promise.
That's all it is. Noel Gameday, Bucs Gameday, and UFC Knockout. Thank you so much, Logan.
Appreciate you, Brandon. Thanks for all the listeners tuning in for this episode. Should be a fun battle to watch, and we'll see if Kyle Trask can take that job. We'll see.
Hopefully, Kyle, please do it. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. We will be back Monday, unless there's some big news that happens this weekend, which I'm not expecting. But we'll be back Monday for Locked On Gators. I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Whole 9 Sports, Giants Country, NFL 33, and I will see you all Monday.